Hello, Austin, not in Texas. Are you ready for this epic furia review? I'm gonna tear you asunder for like the next 20 minutes, so mentally prepare yourself. Actually, I'm really not, I'm just kidding. I just really wanted to use the word asunder because I think it sounds cool. Anyways, back to business. Your deck is fine. I personally don't use Light of Dawn. I replaced it a while ago because I played like one game against Beam Radius 5 Furia and it fucking farmed everyone, including Sam. I think at that point I discovered that he really, really is magnetically attracted to beams. So I find value in that and having that. But Light of Dawn is totally good also. And actually it might be better here just because it's such a, like, not long, well, it kind of is a long map. Like, it's harder to hit beams unless you're in close quarters, but I don't know. It's such a fucking weird map to begin with. Point is, all looks good. I think you started low ground because that's where your Kinesso is, and that's okay. So this is just an opinion, but I actually think your Cassie, just watch this a little bit more, but I think your Cassie should have been playing with your Koa. I think Kinessa can pretty much solo hold high ground behind you guys. And then Cassie didn't really need to be here because then you're very split up. So over here, you're like hard, that's a good heal into Barrack, but you're like hard committing this corner. I know you said you didn't know where to stand, and I really don't know where to stand on this map either. Everything just feels awkward, but this corner is fine for supports sometimes. Given where your team was, it was fine. It's very safe. Just playing like up and down the stairs here. I see a lot of people do it. Seems to work fine. Alternatively, you could play in one of these lower rooms. It's a little bit riskier. I wouldn't be there by myself, but like let's say your whole team decides to play this side, then maybe, and like let's say your Cassie was in here and your Ko was in here or up here, then it would be safer. I'm not saying for you to have been in there right now, but in general, not a terrible place for support. Like I've seen some supports play there as well. But anyways, you're here, or you're fine here. So you're like really committing to helping Finny finish off this Ashe. There's nothing really wrong with that except for the fact that your Barrack died in the meantime. Your Cassie's half. So like this, yes, the two of you, poured resources into finishing off Ashe, but at what cost? And I think ideally what should have happened was that Cassie should have played where you basically are, because you're kind of acting as like the DPS for Finny, which doesn't really make sense while Cassie's not really having much of an impact anyways where she was. That's my opinion. So after that, this team fight was pretty much over. So you end up getting pushed by the Vora because you backed out, but not far enough. Like, I think if you're basically the only one alive with Finny, you either play with him, except you dash back. So you either play with him or you like go all the way back. Like you think this high ground is safe, but it's really not safe at all. As you can see, like 2 people came up here. Yeah. Maybe if you had beam radius 3, you would have hit that. I don't know. But that was just an indecisive moment of where you needed to be. Like where Finny was, even though it was further in, it was actually safer. Especially because he could have protected you as well. So anyways, that first point fight was, I think, on Cassie, just not playing with Koa. And then you were like pseudo DPS, which means you didn't heal Barrack and Cassie in time. I think that was more just team positioning. I think your positioning was fine on those stairs. So in general, I'd like to see you at least look for the Kinessa a little bit more. Like throughout the game, you were like really mega focused on healing tanks, and I think you healed them pretty well. But I don't even think I feel like I hardly saw, wow, I can't speak. I feel like I hardly saw you even look for Kinessa and or Cassie, to be completely fair. Like, I don't think Kinessa like needs a ton of heals, but even just like, I don't see your camera on her. This is fine. I think Cassie was like way overextended, so that was a weird ult. This is good. You didn't have to drop. I don't know why you did. There wasn't like there wasn't like any clear reason that I saw. You could see both your tanks. I don't think you were taking any poke damage. I don't know, maybe it was just a mistake. Alright. I'm gonna go back a little bit. So you drop randomly. Okay, as soon as that happens, you saw or you heard the Saris ult, you went to get that heal and barrack, that's fine. I would have done two things. One, hit your ult. This entire game, you really saved your ult too much. You should just be spamming it. You don't have to spam it off cooldown, but more off cooldown than you did. And then also, you were like so far in right here, hit your ult, or it's not ult, hit your F button. Like, that's just like instinctively, I want to hit my F button when I saw you here. Like, hit your F button. Like, you need to get the fuck out. You're just way too in. Like, just forget about Koa, honestly. You can, if you got out faster, you could have rotated up here sooner and maybe gotten an angle on him, but you're just too far in and you didn't retreat fast enough. And you didn't look for Kinessa behind you. I personally try to back up top, but I think this is fine too. Yeah, I don't know how you guys got pushed so hard. I think it was because you guys really just didn't retreat fast enough as a team. And then you also didn't like look behind you and help the Kinessa. She got pushed by Laura pretty hard. But again, that was also because you were too far forward. Starting here is fine. Like, their whole team is not on high ground, which is bizarre. Like, the only reason not to have played up here at all is if Leon was holding this line. And it's weird to me that she wouldn't, because she just kind of gets this for free. Oh, no, she doesn't, because Kinessa, I'm stupid. Well, I don't know. I've seen some Leons hold this against Kinessas. I have no fucking clue if that's a good idea or a bad idea. But I guess because she wasn't, like, you did kind of get high ground mostly for free. You didn't get poked out so hard. So I like that you saved your ult for the Ashe ult, and that was very cinematic and it looked cool. It's not that putting those shots into Inara was bad, but it was more that I understand you ulted and you want to get some value of your ult, but you are also, don't forget, you are also the healer. So you have to try to heal people. So like this Cassie really needed a heal sooner. Like you wasted like a couple seconds here shooting the Inara when you should have been healing the Cassie, like trying to get to her. I hate that you dropped here. Like, actually, I don't understand why you did. You would have been completely fine on high ground. I'm not sure they could have pushed you that hard, if at all. This drop was just very suicidal. If you could explain your reasoning, I'd be curious, actually. Like, what were you worried about? Good heal onto Barrack. So now Leon is a bit free to just spam from those stairs, and playing here again is fine. All of that is good. You putting pressure on that Vora was really good. And then keeping the Koa pretty healthy, so Vora ult can kill him. I don't know, I think your team was just staggered. I also didn't really see Cassie's impact that team fight. I still think she was playing solo when she should have been playing with the Koa. Just my opinion. I guess she played with the Koa at the very start, but you didn't heal her. I'm not sure why you hit your F there. Was it to get an angle? Or try to get an angle onto Cassie? Possible. Okay, I saw you try to look for the Canessa, that's good. So, not that it's a big deal, but just something... Yeah, you know what? I'm not even going to mention it. It was fine. You look for Canessa again. That's good. I also don't like that you dropped there. There was just no need to. Every time you drop a level, it takes a lot of effort to go back up that level. Again, I just didn't see why you had to. It just lets you get pushed faster or easier. Okay, I would have instinctively, this is a time when I want to ult because their team is trying to get aggressive. Like Ashe just ulted. I know she got instantly hooked out, but their team is like regrouped and they want to push back in, and you guys are zoning pretty far in. So just hit your ult key, and it also gives your team movement speed to get out and extra damage to like not completely get fucked and collapsed upon. Video quality. Yeah, I would have at this point just like start hitting your F to get out. Like, you don't stay in this long. You don't need to, I don't know, see, you notice how you're walking forward? I feel like it was unintentional, like subconscious. There's just no need to. You have infinite, not infinite, but like pretty long range on your right click. There's no need for you to have walked forward. He was fully within your line of sight, regardless. Like, why are you walking forward? I wouldn't have backed out here either. So when your choice to back out left instead of to the right means you are definitely dead at some near point in the future. Because this is if you back out here, to get out you have to go all the way back up the stairs, and that's pretty risky. You don't know what kind of damage you're gonna take. At some point you just kind of have to let Finny die and or your barrack die. The cart is like what, on point or like barely pushed. So it's not a big deal. If you guys just get reset faster, it's totally fine. Again, you're like, you see how as you're healing Barrack, you're actually walking towards him. I just don't understand that. Yeah, I don't know. Foregone conclusion. You guys are definitely dead there. I mean, it honestly doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things because the cart was so far back. And it was actually fine that your team got wiped all at once. But you could have gotten out. I think you could have gotten out. Save your KD. They were going to die regardless. You could have ulted here too, honestly. Jeez. Okay. That's fine. By the way, this thing just looks so fucking weird. Plus the sound effects on the mounts is too weird for me. I think you're... Yeah, that's fine. Good ults. Here Cassie's choosing to play by herself again on the lower right side. It's just weird. You could have played with her because you're kind of like floating in between people because everyone is everywhere. It's kind of weird. So you could have played, I think for the most part you tried to stick with Finny, but alternatively you could have stuck with Canessa, you could have stuck with Cassie a little bit more. Hold on, I want to talk about that beam. I rewound too much, but whatever. That beam, I'm pretty sure you meant to beam the 1 HP Vora, but you could have just shot him instead. You know? It's a minor point, but it was very weird to see. So if you had been with the Cassie, I don't know, you could have like beamed the Ashe or something. But I mean, she got out, so it's like whatever. Okay, good cap. Nothing terrible. I mean, you guys played it fine for the most part. I think their team fucked up. Nice hook, Finny. Good job, Cassie. I don't understand that spray. I'm gonna judge you for it. Alright, around here, you can just hug this tree for cover. You really don't need to be peeking. Like, why are you here when you could be here? You know? Your tanks are on cart. They don't need you to push. I don't know where Leon was, actually. But if she was back there, she could have just, like, poked you out pretty hard. Okay. Do not do this. You were looking for this Canessa so hard. By the time she was backing away from you. She wasn't looking for a heal. By the time you found her, that was nice damage to Vora. But by the time you found her, she would have been healed out of combat already. And it put you in such a weird spot. Like, you took so much damage from Ashe. If they wanted heals, just make them come to you. Very nice beam. Alt! Hit alt! But you don't. So on the push here, from my personal experience so far on this shit fuck map, sometimes when I've played here, if the enemy is up top here, they'll just drop on me and I get fucked. That happened to me a couple times. You seem to be okay here. Maybe because the Canessa is providing cover from the right. That would make sense. Sometimes I've had to just hug the right side instead. That was safer than the left side just because they can't drop on me right away. Just in general. You could have also ulted here. I mean, you had like 46 seconds left, right? You'll get your ult back, probably. That's good damage onto Ashe. Okay, didn't really need it, but I don't know what happened to their team. Maybe Canessa and Cassie were doing things. Don't really know. Alright, so Cassie played that really well because she totally knew It was a very telegraphed Ashe ult. She knew it was coming. So she like didn't hard commit to the room, baited it, and then like dodge rolled and didn't get punished for it. And your ult is fine too. Like, it's good. So Finny started here, somehow rolled here. So then you have two tanks on point, stacking. But maybe the call was to finish off the Inara because she was low, which is respectable. The only problem is, in the meantime, like, your entire backline gets fucked. I guess Cassie's okay. But, like, you and Kanessa just get hard dove by their team. But it actually worked out because both your tanks are so healthy because no one is shooting them and the point tank is already dead. So you guys cap just because of point time. Wait, that was a redundant sentence. You guys win just because you have cap time. So it's an interesting point fight, I would say. Like, I think the decision to burn point actually was boring, but it worked out in the end. And even though you and Kanessa both died for it, it didn't even matter. So the couple main points I would give you would be, you have to use your ult more on Furia. It's such a waste when you don't. I think you even had morale boost at the end, right? Yeah, you had morale boost. I had more than that, but maybe not. Okay. I thought you had like, oh, you got master rating at the very end. Yeah, I mean, even if you don't have morale boost on Furia, you should be ulting a lot more. And then couple of, I thought the point fights, your positioning actually wasn't that bad overall. Sometimes you just, the first point I don't think was your fault. I think like between the like you were just pseudo damaged and you need to be healing instead. And then a couple times you need to retreat faster. Yeah, I'm like really tired and I can't remember what I said, but it wasn't terrible, honestly. It was just like a couple of times like you dropped down when you shouldn't have, because there's no reason for you to drop down. Maybe those were the times that they yelled at you. I'm not entirely sure, but you can let me know.